West Ham ownership have lost the plot. They have got their fingers so far off the pulse, they're checking someone's leg for a heartbeat. Listen, this is really, really bad at the moment. I'll tell you what's happening. The West Ham ownership are playing to the galleries. They're telling you what they think you want to hear. Let me tell you this most recent one. It will sound very, very familiar. That the jury's now out on David Moyes. That David Moyes has X amount of games to save his job. They're going to be watching closely. Have you ever heard this before? Of course you've heard this before. This is more of the same. This is exactly the same thing that will allow David Moyes to let's be fair, David Moyes is going to win a game in February, isn't he? He just is. It might be Brentford, it might be Nottingham Forest. One of the next few games David Moyes is going to win. And that's going to set the reset button. I'll tell you what this is now. This is short-term thinking and reactionary responses to a long-term problem. And it's always the same, and it's always been thus. We've heard it all before, haven't we? Oh, no manager can lose 5 games in a row. If he loses 5 games in a row, he's gone. Well, of course, he draws one, and then he manages to keep his job. Sorry, I'm ranting at the moment like this is all really about David Moyes. I've done David Moyes to death. I'll tell you what, my focus is firmly and squarely on the ownership of West Ham at the moment, because I think what's going on is absolute disgrace. By the way, this video goes and gets progressively worse, and I'm not just talking about my ranting, because you couldn't make this stuff up. By the end of this video, you're going to be scratching your head as much as I am. We've heard it all before, haven't we? He's got to win at least one in the next 3 games. Do you know what? He invariably does, and it kicks the can down the road and nothing ever gets sorted. This is a multi-million-pound company. There's billionaire investors. There's Daniel Kretinsky. There's Trip Smith. I don't even know how they're letting this rabble get away with running the club in the way that they are with this short. We'll look at the next game. We'll look at the next game. What are you going on about? It's absolutely ridiculous. At the moment, they're trying to plan for the stadium to be 67,000. You're not even. How can you look to next year? How can you look to the season thereafter when you don't even know what's going to happen in 4 weeks' time? It's an absolute joke. At the point where the club needed some leadership, they've been completely and utterly rudderless. And by the way, the 2 names that have been leaked as West Ham's next potential managers, if you don't know the details, wait until you hear this. I mean, you're just not going to believe it at all. But how the board think that giving David Moyes this stay of execution, but with a sword of Damocles hanging over his head, is going to help, I just don't know. I mean, if you're going to do that, just sack him. Because actually, if the players do honestly want him out, all they know they've got to do now is down tools. I didn't know how David Moyes this week was going to be able to go into the ground. I'm talking about the training ground here. And motivate those players. How are those players when David Moyes is giving them a training drill ahead of the Nottingham Forest game? Maybe he takes the back 4 away and he tries to put them in shape, and he runs a training drill of how they're going to have to defend set plays against Nottingham Forest. How on earth is he going to be able to convey his message to the West Ham defenders and have them believe in what he says? Have them have faith. The defenders will trust that the tactics that David Moyes is giving are going to work. You wouldn't be able to. Now, never mind about lost the dressing room. Lost the dressing room it seems to be this big thing how like nobody likes him or nobody likes anyone. Forget that. It's far more simple than that. What about if just the players have just stopped believing that David Moyes' tactics are going to work? What about if it was that bad that actually they don't want to play in this system anymore? What about if he's just asking too much? He's asking too much of Jarrod Bowen, who's getting battered to play in this ridiculous role. And I'll tell you what, Jarrod Bowen isn't the one that's suffering most. Too much to ask these defenders, one of whom's bloody broken anyway, to play in this defensive system where they've got to suffer wave after wave after wave after wave of attack and somehow defend against an absolute onslaught. What about if it's not even a case of downing tools. What if the players just lost faith, lost belief, and they've just had enough? It's so easy now for those players just to think, do you know what? Let's just leave it. Let's not win the next 2 or 3 games and then see David Moyes gone. But then, of course, there's the messaging that actually, do you know what? We're not even going to get a caretaker manager. We might renew, but if not, we might renew at the end of the season. We'll either get rid of David Moyes, we'll let him go then, or we'll get someone else in. It's ridiculous. West Ham should have known last season who we were getting in to replace David Moyes when it eventually happened. I don't think we're any closer to knowing. And I tell you what, any hope that we might have had that Tim Steidten was going to go and pick our next manager at the moment, forget it. Because I tell you what, the two names that I've heard linked are absolutely disastrous. It is an absolute disaster. Before I tell you about those two players and tell you why they are a disaster, may I please point you in the direction of today's video sponsor, who are Match Bingo. Let me tell you why you should download the Match Bingo app. I tell you what, because I find betting overly complicated. I really do. I find all the bet builders, the accumulators, I find that quite difficult to know what to do. But not just that, I don't have the wisdom of knowing what the intricacies of throughout the league. So sometimes I don't know what to bet. Sometimes I just want somebody to do it with me. So what they've done in terms of Match Bingo is they basically give you a bingo card. And a bingo card's not numbers. Rather than it being numbers, it's actually events during a match. Is there going to be a corner? Is there going to be a throw-in? Is there going to be a card? And the best thing about it is you can claim lots of different lines on there to win up to £175. That is the prize pool for each individual game. But the spend is capped at only £2. They say that thing, don't they? Spend, bet responsibly, all that type of stuff. Do you know what? You pretty much have to with Match Bingo. But they also have a free-to-play game. Go and check it out. The link is in the description below. Please use the link below. They'll know you've come from Hammer's Chat. Go and check it out. Match Bingo, really, really good app. And we actually had a Hammer's Chat winner, which was Rob, who won a couple of days ago. Won himself, got one line, won himself £25. Not bad at all. If it was crap, we wouldn't recommend it to you. It's really, really good. Go and check that out. Okay, I got two names for you now, and it's not Match Bingo. Actually, it's Paulo Fonseca, and the other one is Christophe Galtier. Now, Galtier may be a name that is familiar to you, but who are these two guys? These are the two, this is unbelievable, these are the two people most likely to get the West Ham job in the event of David Moyes losing his job. These are not the pick of the bunch. Honestly, this is not the pick of the bunch. This is not the cream of the crop. These are not the best young coaches in Europe. No, 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 no. Actually, these are two managers with a whiff of controversy about them. And I've got to say, nothing exceptional going on here at all. You would think that, bearing in mind West Ham are one of the, I think, with a last look in, West Ham are the 17th richest club in world football. And climbing. That's last year. I'd imagine it's higher than that. We've had European football for the last 3 seasons. We have the second biggest attendance. Forget the half-time thing. We have the second biggest attendance in the Premier League. We should be going and recruiting a winner. I read a story in the Metro just yesterday which said West Ham can go and get some of the best managers in the world. I absolutely believe we can. But we're not going for them. No, we're not going for them. We're going for Paulo Fonseca or Christophe Galtier. Now, this is pretty bad stuff, actually. Look, Fonseca was meant to have joined Spurs before he joined Roma a few years ago. Spurs were rumoured to be wanting him. They had some talks with him. The talks broke down because of some tax issues. So basically, he was apparently under investigation for tax reasons. Don't take my word for it. You go and search it. The stories are everywhere. It's on Wikipedia. It's on the news. It's on everywhere. Go and search it out. Look, he's won some trophies for Shakhtar. Shakhtar Donetsk. That's it. I mean, he's done okay in Portugal. No, but far from being the best Portuguese manager out there. Very, very far from it. At the moment, he's going. What can I say? He's over at Lille in France at the moment. I think they're 5th in the French league, which is not too bad. Don't get me wrong. But what was it? Last week they got thumped. So Said Benrahma has gone and he's gone to play for Lyon. Now, Lyon are, the reason Said Benrahma didn't sign a contract long-term at Lyon is because they're basically fighting relegation. They're down at the bottom of the league. Lyon beat Fonseca's team 4-0. 4-0, like last week. Honestly, you could not make this stuff up. There is nothing outstanding about this manager at all. He's okay. He plays attacking football. I'll tell you what, though. He's known to the board. I'll tell you that much now. And I'll tell you something else. He's out of contract. Yes, you've guessed it, exactly the same time that David Moyes' contract's expired. Now, look, we've been linked with him before, but I will tell you now, we've also been here before. You wait for this to be spun that West Ham fans wanted this manager. You honestly, you wait for it. There is more, and there's look, I'll tell you what, there's a couple of reasons why West Ham might be interested in this particular manager, and one of them ain't football, I'll tell you that much. I'm not saying he's crap, I'm really not, but is this the best candidate for the job? No way. Is this a person that maybe we're using Tim Steidten to scout the best young and up-and-coming coach in the Bundesliga? No way. This is not that guy. This is not that guy at all. This is a bit of a journeyman manager, not top of class, not at all. B-list. To give him his dues, I think he did with, I think it was with Roma, quite possibly he got to the semi-finals of the Europa League. Literally, David Moyes has a better record than this guy. Surely if we're going to get rid of David Moyes, we want a better manager than David Moyes, which brings us to Christophe Galtier, who probably has won. I think he did. I think he won the French league with PSG. You know why he's not at PSG at the moment? Because back as recently as December, he was in prison. Yep. He was in prison. Honestly, he was under investigation. It's not even investigation. He had a court case. He had a proper court case for discrimination and racism. Now, I've got to say at this point, he was acquitted. He was acquitted. However, I'll tell you this now. The testimonies from, I think they were the Nice players at the time. Sorry, I've got a lot of French clubs going through my brain. And my mouth are going at 1,000 miles an hour at the moment. So I might have got some small details wrong, but I haven't got the big one wrong. If you go and read some of the testimonies that I have from some of the players and some of the things that they claim he has said, and lots of these players, it is not good. I tell you what, it is not good. Honestly, it makes I can't remember what's his name, Tony Henry. Honestly, makes Tony Henry look like Kofi Annan. It really does. It's not good. Talk about controversy. There's no way you could employ this guy. Anyway, where is he at the moment? Because obviously he's not at PSG anymore. He's out in Abu Dhabi or something like that. He's in honestly, he is in the doldrums of the managerial world. I'm not even sure that. I bet West Ham United are unaware of this. But for West Ham United, and by the way, these two names have been leaked by them. I'm pretty sure of that. 90% sure, all right? 90% sure that these names have been leaked by them. My word, honestly, where is it? Where's the invention? Where is the using Tim Steidten? I am absolutely fuming with how badly the club is being run at the moment. To allow this David Moyes situation to fester in the way that it has, to look and to use a phrase that I'm hearing a lot at the moment, the optics. As you're hearing that, the optics of the situation do not look good. They look like that once again we're scrambling for a solution when we should have had long-term planning in place. What we've got now is a hurried, reactive solution to a long-term problem. It's absolutely disgraceful. And let me just finish up, by the way. Let me just finish up while I'm having my little rant, because, I mean, I should have done this in a separate video or something, but hey, look, I'm not. There you go. There seem to be some comments that have been attributed to the board about how the board were disappointed with how many of the fans left the stadium at half-time against Arsenal. I think the quote was, it helped nobody. Doing that helps nobody. I'll do one, quite frankly. Do one. What do you know? You know diddly shit about it. Honestly, they sit up there in their comfortable seats, in their in their plush surroundings, in their car park. They know nothing about getting in and out of Stratford Station. Absolutely nothing. They know nothing about stop and go signs. They know nothing about train strikes. I'm absolute, and I tell you what, I'm really annoyed with this. How dare they? Where's their advisors? Someone in their press to just say, pipe down, don't say this stuff. This is not good. Don't be saying this, that you're disappointed in the fans or whatever it was. I might have my words slightly muddled up, but that was the general gist. They were surprised and it helped nobody. I'll do one. Honestly, how dare they? How absolutely dare they? I think for too long, the focus has been on David Moyes, and it has allowed a rudderless ownership to sit behind the pressure that's on the manager. And yes, not everything has been bad. They clearly have supplied the manager with some funds. And I'm pleased that they appointed Mark Noble. I'm pleased that they appointed Tim Steidten. But what they've done is they've taken Tim Steidten and they've tied one hand behind his back. The idea and the concept was good, but the practice was rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Tim Steidten wanted to bring, we all know that. Tim Steidten wanted to bring players in. Why don't they facilitate that? He wanted to bring them in January. I don't know why they didn't at all. Why? And I'll tell you what, it's not all on David Moyes. And I'm not, look, I'm sure, as you can tell, I'm not impressed with David Moyes at all. But it's this binary thing, or this one smoking gun. Well, everyone's concentrating on David Moyes. Where was they? Why weren't they forcing this through? Why did they allow us to have a situation we've got no left wingers? They're all very wise afterwards, saying, oh, hold on, this is a little bit worrying, the performance against Arsenal. I mean, you could tell it, we've got no attackers. They should know that, and then they leak it. Oh, well, hold on, the board and Tim Steidten really wanted to bring in a striker. Well, bring in a bloody striker then. Do it. It's no good saying it afterwards. I really wanted to. Oh, yeah, it's all nice, isn't it? In hindsight. And I've got to say, it's just utter incompetence in the club at the moment. They need to sort it out. They really do. Stop hiding behind this David Moyes thing and just kicking a can down the road. Oh, well, you know, we're going to be looking at him for the next few games. Yeah, we've heard it all before. Do something, make some decision, at least. If you're going to keep David Moyes to the end of the season, say it. We're keeping him to the end of the season, and then he's going to go. Do you know what? Everyone knows that Klopp's going at Liverpool. You know what? Just do it. Some form of leadership rather than playing to the galleries thinking, oh, I wonder what bloody Sky Sports are going to think, or well, we don't want Chris Sutton criticised, or whatever the case may be. Who bloody cares? Honestly, it's an absolute joke. Rudderless, and I think not just rudderless leadership, without the capacity for clear and incisive thinking. What's the long-term strategy at West Ham? I'm asking you, what's the long... You don't know, and I don't know. And you know why you don't know, and you know why I don't know? No, because the people at the top, they don't bloody know.